Welcome everyone. My name is Bambos Charalambos. I'm the Member of Parliament for Southgate and Wood Green, and I am the Chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Cyprus. And we're very lucky to have with us today the Cyprus Foreign Minister, Mr. Constantinos Kombos, who's going to speak to us. We're also delighted to have with us Hamish Faulkner, who is the Middle East North Africa Minister. He's also going to speak to us as well. And we have some, I think Andrew Mitchell will be coming. He's not here yet, but he will also be speaking to us. He was until today the Foreign Secretary, the Shadow Foreign Secretary, but that role has now gone to Priti Patel, who is also hoping to pop in to make an appearance today. Also delighted to have Michael Tatum, who is the British High Commissioner to Cyprus. Is due to start in a couple of weeks' time. So welcome, Michael. And we also have the Cyprus High Commissioner to the UK, Mr. Kyriakos Gouros, who is also here today as well. And also delighted to have Sir Roger Gale, who is the President, the Honorary President of the APPG for Cyprus, and he'll also be making some remarks as well. But without any further ado, I'm going to introduce my very good friend, Christos Karaoulis, who is the President of the Federation of Cypriots in the UK. So we'll go straight on to that, because I know people have got time issues today. So Christos, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bambo. Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Cyprus, Minister for the Middle East, Shadow Ministers and Party Spokespersons, High Commissioner of the Republic of Cyprus, my Lords, Honourable and Right Honourable Members of Parliament, dear friends and colleagues. On behalf of the National Federation of Cypriots in the UK, I'd like to welcome you to our annual Cyprus reception. It is a great pleasure to be joined by so many of our parliamentary friends every year as we represent our 300,000 strong UK Cypriot diaspora. This year we're also delighted to welcome the new Minister for the Middle East, as well as so many newly elected members of Parliament. To all of you, we are heartened by your enthusiasm to work with our diaspora and excited for this to continue in the years to come. I would also like to congratulate Bambos Charalambos on his very recent election as the Chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group for Cyprus. Bambos has long served in the leadership of the APPG and is a proud member of our UK Cypriot diaspora, so we look forward to working with him. I would also like to extend my deep gratitude to the APPG's former chairs in the last Parliament, Caroline Noakes MP, or Madam Deputy Speaker as I should now say, and Sir Roger Gale MP, who is now the group's Honorary President. It has been a personal honour of mine to work with both of them and to see their passion for Cyprus. Just over 1 month ago, on the 1st of October, the Republic of Cyprus celebrated its Independence Day. In that time, Cyprus has remained a beacon of liberal democracy in a region of the world where that ideal has so rarely been realised. This has made Cyprus a strong, reliable and stable ally to the UK, cooperating on a multitude of policy areas, from security, trade, shipping and defence. In the last year alone, the scope of this relationship has extended to the provision of humanitarian aid to Gaza via the Cyprus Maritime Corridor, as well as the evacuations of British nationals from Israel, Sudan and Lebanon. And in that context, we warmly welcome the meeting between the Prime Minister and President Christodoulides on the 15th of October at Downing Street as a visible signal of the strengthening UK-Cyprus relations, and we look forward to this continuing to be built upon. Sadly, for the last 50 years, Cyprus has not been able to fulfil its full potential, given the ongoing Turkish occupation of 1/3 of the island. For all that Cyprus has achieved, we can only imagine what it may have accomplished had it not been illegally occupied this last half-century. At a time when the idea of territorial integrity and sovereignty are coming under threat across the globe, it is all the more important that the UK and the international community hold Turkey to account. An invasion is an invasion, whether it happened 50 years ago in Cyprus or 2 years ago in Ukraine. That is why, as UK Cypriots, we are clear that the only basis for a solution is the agreed UN framework, namely the reunification of Cyprus as a bi-zonal, bi-communal federation with political equality as outlined in UN Security Council resolutions, with a single sovereignty, single international personality and single citizenship, and fully in line with the EU acquis and international law. As you are aware, President Nikos Christodoulidis and Turkish Cypriot leader Ersin Tatar met with the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres in New York last month. The trilateral meeting resulted in a commitment to implement further confidence-building measures, as well as to organise multi-party meetings that will pave the way for negotiations to resume. As British voters, our message to our government is clear. It is our expectation that the UK government is not only present at ministerial level in any upcoming guarantor meetings, but it must also be unequivocally clear that the only basis for a solution is the agreed UN framework. The UK has both historic and contemporary ties to Cyprus that make it uniquely positioned to take an active role in ensuring that Turkey returns to negotiations as soon as possible, constructively, honestly, and to discuss a solution that is within the agreed UN framework. The UK is a guarantor power, a P5 Security Council member, the UN Security Council penholder on Cyprus, and above all, an ally of Cyprus. In closing, I'd like to express our deep thanks to all our parliamentary supporters in both houses. Your presence here tonight and your active help gives us optimism and hope for a free, united Cyprus. Thank you very much.
And without any further ado, I'm now going to introduce the Cyprus Foreign Minister, Mr. Constantinos Kombos.
Thank you, Bambos. Thank you, Chris. I had a speech prepared, but I'm not going to use it. I'm going to try and be short in my intervention, because a lot of the things I had planned to say have already been said by Chris. Look, the whole point today for me is to try and showcase what Cyprus is all about, and Cyprus is much more than the Cyprus question. Of course, the Cyprus problem is for us something that is of existential importance. We can never avoid that very heavy shadow. But at the same time, we believe that our foreign policy should be looking towards showcasing the importance that Cyprus can have for its allies. So it's not that we believe that Cyprus is becoming a powerhouse in the region. That's not the case. We are very cautious in our approach, but we believe that we have a lot to offer to the region and to the friendly countries. In the last 19 months, a lot has happened. We had, as was mentioned, the joint effort for the humanitarian maritime corridor to Gaza. That was with the participation of the UK, later with the US, the UAE, and there was an international coalition. We offered an option to the international community that was not there prior to that. That's an initiative that was able to be implemented simply because we had excellent relations with the neighboring countries, with Jordan, with Egypt, and of course with Israel. At the same time, we had the opportunity, unfortunately I would say that, to facilitate the evacuations of thousands of citizens of third countries, whether that was Sudan last year, Israel, Lebanon now. Just recently from Lebanon, 4,000 individuals from 29 countries were evacuated through Cyprus. So for us, this is another expression of our role in the region as a safe harbor, especially in times of crisis and danger. In the recent months, we also managed to create that momentum that would elevate the relation with the United States to levels that we have never seen before. In the last few months, back in June, it was announced that a strategic dialogue would commence between the US and Cyprus. The first round took place a few days ago, followed by an official invitation to the President to visit the White House, which took place just last week. There is close cooperation with the United States on a number of fronts: security, defense, humanitarian, in relation to our reputation in terms of the economic activity in Cyprus. The FBI, the DOJ are in Cyprus in full cooperation with our authorities. So we have made great progress with the country that is having today an election, as we all know, and we are all waiting to see what the outcome would be. We also have a very close relation with the United Kingdom. The President was in Downing Street just a few days ago. And for us, this is a very important development because we believe in this relation. We believe in making the maximum out of the close historical cooperation with the United Kingdom. And there is a strategic dialogue being prepared. It's going to take place in a few weeks in December with the United Kingdom here in London. So we want to work for the relation. We want to make the relation much more than what it has been. And the opportunities in the region, or rather the region is creating opportunities and also responsibilities. And if we are able to do that with the United States, we should be able to do it also with the United Kingdom, at least to the same extent and even more. So we are very much open to this cooperation. There is also a strategic dialogue initiative that is going to include France in the near future. So Cyprus is doing things. We are doing things on a number of fronts beyond the Cyprus question. There is the EU presidency of the Council in 2026, which would enable us to once again showcase how Cyprus could be a bridge between the Middle East and Europe. But all that would make no difference if we have the Cyprus question in a situation it has been for the last 5 decades. And we cannot avoid that issue. It's there, it's existential. For us, it's not a historical event, the 50 years since the invasion. It's our everyday reality, our everyday life. We are living with the occupation, we are living with the Turkish troops just across the street in Nicosia. And this government has taken every step that is available to it to create a momentum that led, after a long time of inactivity, to the Secretary General of the UN appointing a personal envoy. Then we had the report of that special envoy, personal envoy to the Secretary General, the invitation in New York back a couple of weeks, 3 weeks ago or so, and the announcement of 2 new meetings that are being forthcoming, one in Nicosia and then one back in New York. There is an opportunity in terms of small steps that are taking place, and these are steps we didn't have some time ago. So we have an obligation to take maximum use of that opportunity, try and maximize the possibility of going back to the negotiating table. And for us, we are ready to go back to the negotiating table today, not tomorrow, today. There is only one basic parameter. We are willing to discuss in depth anything that has to do with the Cyprus question, as long as that discussion is taking place on the basis of the UN Security Council resolutions. There is nothing beyond that. There could be nothing beyond that. And this is not just for Cyprus. This is also important for the international community. Because if we start creating exceptions where the aggressor could be appeased, where the illegal products of an act of aggression become legalized, then this is a precedent for the international community, not just for Cyprus. So I'm going to close by saying that Cyprus will continue to play its role in the region in a very cautious way, in a way that is helpful to friends and allies, and we will continue to pay attention to what is for us an existential matter, the Cyprus problem. We are willing to proceed with the negotiations. The ball is in the court of Turkey. Thank you.
Thank you, Foreign Secretary, and it's, we anticipate with great hope what happens next. I just want to, before I invite Hamish to come up and speak, I just want to identify a few parliamentarians who are in the room. So we have Sarah Sackman. So welcome, Sarah. Thank you. We have Mike Wood. Welcome, Mike. Gagan Mahindra. Welcome, Gagan. And from the Lords, we have Baroness Rosie Winterton, Baroness Aisha Hazarika, and Baroness Morgan as well. Thank you all for coming this evening. I'm now going to introduce the person that has the, and of course Andrew Mitchell, but Andrew's speaking. Andrew, I didn't mention you earlier, but you'll be speaking shortly. I'm now going to introduce something that has probably the hardest job in Parliament as a minister. Hamish, as a new MP, is the Minister for the Middle East and North Africa, and I don't need to tell you how hard the Middle East is. And Hamish will have to leave shortly after he makes his remarks. So without any more ado, Hamish, I'm going to invite you up to speak. Thank you so much, Hamish.
Good evening. Kalispera. It's wonderful to see so many friends of Cyprus in the room, and you can tell how deeply felt these issues are right across Parliament, because you've just had a bunch of Conservatives and Labour parliamentarians applauding each other. So there's clearly a powerful unifying feeling here. And I just want to acknowledge both my friend, the Foreign Minister of Cyprus, put my thanks to the Federation, but I also want to just say on a personal note what an excellent High Commissioner we are sending to Cyprus. Michael and I have worked together, I hope he'll forgive me saying so, when I was an official before I became a politician. He has most recently been our Deputy Ambassador in Washington, and it is a sign of how seriously we take this relationship that we're sending an official with the experience, capability and commitment that Michael has always shown through his career. So you are in good hands, and it is a testament to how important this relationship is for us that Michael has been appointed as the High Commissioner, and I'm sure he will do great things along with his Cypriot counterpart here. Our countries and people share the closest of ties, united as we are both in our values, as the Foreign Minister said, and our commitment to peace and stability in Europe and beyond. I am obviously not the Minister with responsibility for Cyprus, but Cyprus is an issue close to my heart too. I'm the Minister responsible, as Bambo said. I hope it's not the hardest job in Parliament, but it is. I naturally have a strong interest in Cyprus because of that interest in the Middle East. And I want to say, before I turn to the Middle East, because there are important issues, and let us not just talk about the Cypriot question in the way the Foreign Minister said, but I just want to say that the people of Cyprus can count on this government to champion their interests wherever in the world they live. And I recognise we've got many MPs for whom this is a strong constituency issue as well. So let me start with the Middle East and our country's shared determination to avoid further escalation and bring peace to the Middle East. Cyprus's unique position in the region means it is well placed to encourage key stakeholders to urge de-escalation and encourage dialogue. And we're very grateful for the leadership that the Foreign Minister referred to in establishing the Amalthea initiative to ship aid to Gaza via a maritime corridor. Earlier this year, the Royal Navy worked with Cyprus, the US and other partners to deliver the very first shipment. And we've continued to work in partnership since. That has meant 15,000 tonnes of life-saving aid. I myself was in the region just 2 weeks ago and saw for myself how hard it is to get aid into Israel and Gaza, and the role that Cyprus has played has been vital. We've worked together since the beginning of this conflict, including in coordinating evacuations from the Middle East. 200 British nationals were repatriated from Israel last October, and it was only through the support of Cyprus through Plan Etήσια that we were able to do so. And I know our countries will continue to work together on this and other regional challenges, united in determination to promote peace, security and stability. In Ukraine, we stand firmly together against Russia's aggression, and beyond our military and humanitarian assistance, we are collaborating closely on sanctions to tackle Putin's shadow fleet. Closer to home, Britain does remain committed to supporting the UN to find a way forward for Cyprus, whose people have been forcibly divided for too long in the way that we movingly heard from the Foreign Minister. And I want to assure you that this Labour government is committed to supporting the UN to find a lasting settlement, an outcome that will safeguard the future of Cyprus and the region better than any peacekeeping operation. The existing UN framework of a bi-zonal, bi-communal federation with political equality remains the best available. I've only touched on a handful of the many issues that matter to our people, and we'll discuss all this and more, including climate, education and trade, during our annual strategic dialogue next month, which is an opportunity to strengthen our rock-solid partnership even further in the way the Foreign Minister has referred to. So for now, let me wish you all the best for an enjoyable evening. I'm sorry I can't stay very long, but this is an important friendship between our countries, and a friendship that continues to go from strength to strength.
Before I introduce our next speaker, I should point out that Andrew accepted this invitation prior to what happened today when he was the Shadow Foreign Secretary, and he's very kindly agreed to honour that engagement. But we're also privileged to have the the Shadow Foreign Secretary, Priti Patel, Priti, welcome. Thanks so much. I don't know if you want to say any words. Okay. Andrew's been a great friend to Cyprus for many years. He served there as a UN peacekeeper in the 70s, and he's got a great experience in international development and foreign affairs. So without any more ado, I'm going to invite the Right Honourable Andrew Mitchell to the stage. Thank you, Andrew.
Well, thank you very much indeed, and Your Excellency, thank you for your inspiring speech, and it's very good to follow Hamish Faulkner, recently arrived, as well as announced, in the House of Commons, and who's doing such an excellent job as a Foreign Office Minister. And also to see many friends of Cyprus and many friends of mine in the room from all parties. As you rightly said, it shows the interest and support for Cyprus that exists in the House of Commons. Rather alarming number of whips from the opposition whips office, but I'm sure that doesn't mean anything. And also, I retired from the front bench yesterday, but again, I think it shows you, Your Excellency, the importance we attach that my successor and friend, Priti Patel, the new Shadow Foreign Secretary, is here also to support. And can I say also it's delightful to see a number of Foreign Office officials with whom I have worked and to hear the very good news about the next High Commissioner. My love of Cyprus, Foreign Minister, started many years ago when I arrived in Cyprus as an extremely young lieutenant in the British Army, seconded to the United Nations forces in Cyprus in 1975, a very long time ago. And we had earlier this year hosted at your High Commission in London the 50th anniversary of UNFICYP. And I had the great privilege and pleasure of being there to celebrate, really, the work that has been done by UNFICYP and the close relationship between Britain and the Cypriot government. And more recently, as Hamish referred to, the very close relationship in getting aid into Gaza by the maritime route, working incredibly closely together, and also, of course, a time of great anxiety and worry when you were brilliantly helpful when we flew people out of Sudan and into Limassol. And I want to place on record my tremendous gratitude for my time in the Foreign Office as the Deputy Foreign Secretary, for the support and help and close working relationship we had. And I know that evacuation flights from Lebanon too have benefited from your generosity and support. The Cypriot community, as I know from being a Birmingham Member of Parliament, but throughout the country, is much loved, makes a huge contribution. You are a critical location in a very troubled region, but also an EU member state. And Cyprus works so closely with us and also with NATO on common security issues, whether it's peacekeeping, regional stability, defence, anti-terrorism, intelligence sharing. You know, these are really important issues for both of us. And we and you, the UK and Cyprus, working hand in hand, navigating the challenges, but also the opportunities, and building on this tremendous friendship between our two countries in terms of trade links and cultural links. So nothing could give me greater pleasure than coming here tonight to salute that relationship and thank you for this incredibly close cooperation, which is a matter of common consent between parliamentarians in the House of Lords and in the House of Commons, but also between the government and the opposition. Thank you very much indeed.
Our final speaker is also a great friend of Cyprus. He was the chair of the APPG for Cyprus for many years. He's now the honorary president of the APPG for Cyprus. He's a true friend of Cyprus, speaks up on numerous occasions, whether that's from the backbenches or elsewhere. He always speaks up for Cyprus. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce Sir Roger Gale. Roger.
Foreign Minister, High Commissioner, friends, citizens of the United Kingdom and of Cyprus, and I am proud to be both. It has never ceased to amaze me that for 50 years we have permitted, because we have permitted a member state of the Council of Europe, Turkey, to maintain an army of occupation in another member state of the Council of Europe. It is as wrong as was the Russian invasion of Ukraine 2 years ago, about which I also feel very, very strongly. I just hope that their problems don't last for the same 50 years that ours have. The Foreign Minister has said absolutely rightly, and in fact my dear and late friend Robin Corbyn always used to say, wouldn't it be wonderful if there was a day when we could talk about Cyprus without having to add the word problem afterwards. Because Cyprus does have so much more to offer, as we're seeing now. Point has been made. The President of the Republic initiated the aid program that went out of Larnaca into Gaza. And there is so much more that can be done. And geopolitically, the location of Cyprus is vital to the security of the whole of the Middle East. We have to capitalize on that, and we have to get talks started again. It's a good sign that the General Secretary of the United Nations is talking now with the President of the Republic and with Mr. Talat, although how much sway Mr. Talat himself actually has is a moot point. But we have to start somewhere, and we have to start to open doors. The only thing I would say, in the context of more talks, is if we're going to go back to Crans-Montana, we can't go back to the beginning. 98% of the work has already been done. And the only thing that prevented it being 100% was a man called Orian. So we can't go back to the beginning, and we have to understand that yes, these talks must start again, but they must start where we left off and lead to the conclusion that we all want to see, which is the reunification of the island of Cyprus as one republic with complete freedom of movement, of employment, of domicile. Those are the only terms upon which a settlement will be reached. But as we in the all-party group have said for very many, far too many years now, and I have to repeat again tonight, those of us in our parliament, on both sides of the House, we do not regard this as a partisan issue. We'll be with you, we'll stay with you, we'll work with you for as long as it takes. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Roger. I'm just going to acknowledge Dan Tomlinson as well. Welcome, Dan. Dan's the MP for Chipping Barnet. So we've come to the end of our speeches. So the problem being the last speaker is that everything you want to say has been said. The only thing I will say is that with the APPG for Cyprus, it is truly cross-party. We do work together. We have the interests of Cyprus at heart. As you've heard from the speeches tonight, there is true cross-party support for trying to find a solution for Cyprus. It has been way too long. We've come very close, and we just need to do what we can to help those who are trying to find a solution. So I just want to thank you all very much for coming tonight. Please stay around for there's some drinks at the end, and there's some saw some things being, some hors d'oeuvres being sent around the room. Please speak to people and find out what their interest is in Cyprus tonight. But thank you all very much for coming. Thank you, Foreign Minister. Hamish is gone. Thank you, Sir Roger. Thank you, Andrew. And thank you all very much for coming. Thank you. Bye-bye.